trade negotiations between the United States and Canada have encountered significant obstacles, with renewed threats of retaliatory tariffs arising from both sides. Vice President JD Vance, during a visit to Brewer, Maine, expressed concerns to constituents that Canadian trade policies have been disproportionately favorable to China compared to U.S. interests, especially those of Maine's agricultural community. Vance characterized Canada's treatment of American, and specifically Maine, goods as inequitable in comparison to its openness toward Chinese imports. According to Vance, discussions between the U.S. and Canada had been close to reaching a resolution before negotiations faltered due to what he described as last-minute demands from Ottawa, which he deemed unreasonable. He emphasized the need for the U.S. to articulate a firm stance against trade practices that he perceives as exploitative. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney recently announced a suspension of the bilateral trade talks. Concurrently, former President Donald Trump communicated his intention to impose substantial tariffs, up to 50%, on Canadian-manufactured vehicles, auto parts, and steel, beginning in January 2027. He criticized Canadian tariff policy, contending that high barriers on American farm products have contributed to a significant trade deficit and imposed hardships on U.S. producers. During remarks at a Maine defense technology manufacturer, Vance highlighted the close economic ties between Maine and Canada and stressed the administration's commitment to securing equitable trade arrangements for local businesses. He cited both Canada and China as significant sources of U.S. trade challenges, though he drew a distinction between expectations for an economic competitor like China versus a long-standing ally such as Canada. Vance underscored the strategic alliance between the two countries, suggesting that Canada's current trade approach undermines the reciprocal obligations inherent in their relationship. Vance noted that Canada enforces substantial tariffs and other trade barriers on American goods, particularly agricultural products, while expecting minimal repercussions or reciprocal measures. He specifically referenced the dairy sector, illustrating the disparities in tariff rates. Maine agricultural exports to Canada may face tariffs as high as 250%, whereas Canadian exports to Maine encounter few such obstacles. Under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, certain U.S. dairy products have duty-free access within quota limits, but tariffs exceeding 240% are applied to over-quota imports. Furthermore, Vance accused Canada of facilitating indirect Chinese access to North American markets, alleging that this issue formed part of the ongoing trade discussions. Despite these points of contention, Vance indicated that the U.S. remains open to reaching a mutually beneficial agreement, reiterating that any final understanding must ensure fairness for American stakeholders. Want to make sure you never miss our latest videos? Tap that follow button right now. If our content brought a smile to your face, made you think, or taught you something new, please like this video and share with your friends and family. Your support helps our community grow, and sharing the love only takes a second. Thank you for watching and being part of our journey.